Thanks for joining me for another video and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while. I haven't posted any Project Life for this year. So let's go ahead and get started. I am still using the Adley Edwards story kits by the month as well as story kits. The story kits that I'm going to be using is Seasons. You see I'm going through the cards. This is a lot of Sunshine as well as Seasons as well as Joy. Um, Also Habits. I'm using Habits as well. A few cards from here and there. I've already cut out my photos. This year I am back using my selfie. I still have my HP Sprocket. We'll see if it debuts within some of these layouts. This year I'm just focusing. Like I said, I am focusing on the month versus the week. I noticed that when I was doing the week, I kind of lost interest in my project life because it started to look the same week by week by week. So I am taking a cue from Allie and just focusing on monthly photos. And so far, it has been less stressful. Also, this year, I am focusing on using everything within my kits that I receive each month, and that includes my stamping. So, you'll see here I am now pulling out the stamps. I have the Stories by the Month stamps that I'm using. I'm using January, October, and September for this layout. Um, so, yes, I want to stamp more, and I also changed um, what photo printer I'll be using. And here I'm just focusing on, I did cut up a couple of those photos. And so I have three smaller photos that I'm going to put those on cards. And then I have a few, three by four, three by four cards that I'm using. So that's pretty much what I'm working with. I'm going to try to use a little bit more of my cards from my story kits. The story kits come with more cards than the story by the month. So I do want to use more of the cards to embellish my pages as well as the stamps. So here I am just looking at the placement of how I'm going to do my photos. Another thing that I have as well is the digital kits by Allie Edwards. I use a couple of those. I store those within my Dropbox, and then basically with Dropbox, you can use them in your Project Life app as well as your Collect app, or you can just print those three by four cards. You can print them as pictures if that's what you choose to do on the selfie, or you can use cardstock and print them all off on a 8.5 by 11 sheet and just cut them down to the size that you want to use. So having the digital kit is helpful as well. You can make multiple of one card. Like for instance, for my title page, the January details, just like Allie did for her January page. She went around and she asked her family, everything that was going on in January and documented it. So I did the exact same thing. I'll put a clip in here really quickly of our. I may put it at the end when I'm showing you all of the photos so that you guys can see our title page. I did not do a video on our title page this year. So there, I just use one of those transparency circles from Seasons. I use the chipboard piece from the January Stories by the Month. It says "Say Yes," and then it has "Love this season of life." And I really, the colors and the kits, I just wanted to show you guys that they definitely can go together. Now, the Joy and the Seasons, these are our kits from last year, 2018. Towards the end of the year, I think like November and December. So they went really well with the January kit as well. So I was really happy that they did all go together. Here, I'm just taking my ink. I'm gonna, like I said, I am trying to do more stamping. Stamping is something that If you don't use it, you lose it. So it does take me a couple of times to stamp away from the paper and then stamp on the paper. I messed this one up quite a bit, but it's okay. I actually like that messy and double printing, like double stamping on my pages. So I was cool with double stamping this. Here I'm using Traditions from the September Stories by the Month kit. I love this stamp. You guys might see it a couple of times. Then I'm going to use a stamp from October. Unfortunately, it's pretty small and the layout is not in front of me. I'm not sure what it says. It might say the stories right now. I know I wanted to use that a lot, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times on this particular card. So I love that. And I'm going to call that card done. I'm going to stamp life right now. I think I'm going to stamp that one more time, and then I'm going to call this card done. Also, I wanted to stamp all my photos. But I have StazOn ink, and unfortunately, I haven't figured out what ink. And if anybody knows, they can put this down below. What ink I can use as far as stamping on selfie paper, on this Canon selfie paper. I know Hiba, I think that's how you say her name. I probably said it wrong. From my traveling journal, I know she uses a selfie. I'm not sure if she still does or not. So maybe I can find on her channel a couple of tips on what I can use with my selfie um, printer to stamp on my photos. But if you're like me and you already have the digital kit, you can use like a PicMonkey or a anything that will use a PNG, because Ali Edwards her digital stamps are PNG. So any type of app that can use a PNG and place it on top of your photos. Um, and that's what I did with a couple of these, because as you can see, I tried on the paper and then I thought, okay, I'm going to stamp on my photo, and then I got scared because you can't see it. I stamped on one photo and it looks okay, but I set it aside to let it dry. But within my album, you can see where it's a little bit smeared. So it was only a little small piece where it was smeared. I was looking at that chipboard piece to see if I wanted to add it to that photo. I'm going to go back later and add those chipboard pieces to the photo. Now I'm moving on. Since this was New Year's, I thought I was going to use beginnings, but I decided that I wasn't. So I printed off a I printed off one of the chipboard pieces that come in the digital kit, and you guys will see that here shortly. I'm going to use that instead of the beginnings card. I'm going to use that chipboard piece from the Ali Edwards January digital kit. Here I'm just embellishing the bottom photo. I'm adding some chipboard pieces to there, and it just has on there lovely day. This is the chipboard piece, and then now since I added that circle chipboard piece, I'm going to use the printed card that I printed from the digital kit. And here I'm just looking for my number one. This is the Habits chipboard pieces. It was already out of the box because I was looking at it, of course, because it has the number one on it. And then I was like, oh, where did it go? And it was already in there. I do have a problem with that. Sometimes I open up my chipboard pieces and I think I'm going to use that piece, and then I don't use it. And then it's floating around within this little caddy that I use for all of my Ali Edwards embellishments and kits. So that little caddy is from IKEA. I got that a couple of years ago, and I'm still utilizing it now. So I added a chipboard piece to that, and basically, I'm just focusing on exactly how Ali. I take a lot of my inspiration from her, as well as the creative team, to use repetition. So I want my album to look different than it did in 2016. And so I'm focusing on changing some of my embellishments, the things that I use, trying to use less embellishments, trying to stamp more and use more of my kits. So that's basically it, guys, for this layout. I'm going to go ahead and cut this apart. This is one of the ones where I used an app to put the stamp on top of the photo because I didn't want to stamp on the photo. So that's a digital stamp that I added. And I'm going to go ahead and slip this in, and that's going to be it for me, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for joining me, and stay tuned for more of my January pages and February. You guys have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.